heads bowling, take them bowling.
That you're totally impossible and out of control with some sort of drug problem and a fixation on what you consider Rick von Sloniker's wickedness. You're a snob, a sexist, totally obnoxious and tiresome, and lately you've gotten just weird. Why should we believe anything you say?
Hi, this is Christopher Walken, and you're watching Jason King on Kung Fu Hot Dog. Wow! Can I punch him in the face, please?
So I imagine if you're clicking on his video, you're a big fan of Jon Stewart. I wouldn't call myself a fan. I have watched some of his chat shows in the past when he had, back in the time when it was okay to get a celebrity actor or actress in the driver's seat and you'll be shooting this shit about their latest films, blah, blah, blah. But of course, times have changed now. Nobody really sees Jay Leno because obviously Jay Leno has retired from that from a long time ago. I think the only person who's kind of keeping that flame alive is probably Conan O'Brien on his own YouTube channel, which is really awesome. Jimmy Fallon, he can't interview for shit. That guy's always nervous in front of a famous guest. He's always fanboying in front of his favorite personality. It's kind of sickening, really. They should just pull Fallon away and get someone like Craig Ferguson or me. Get me to interview a famous celebrity. I'll be much better at that job than Jimmy Fallon ever could be. But Jon Stewart on Apple TV Plus, he showed the problem with Jon Stewart. It's not doing so well with the audiences out there. Despite the fact a lot of people do tune in, it is the 8th most in-demand show on Apple TV Plus. Now, historically, Apple does not provide data in terms of its viewership for its shows, which is interesting. Apple, to me, is like, I'm not the biggest fan of the brand, and I guess for their TV platform, they're trying to stay head and shoulders above Amazon and Netflix by churning out the most original content. Think of it as YouTube with billions of dollars thrown at it for good measure. That's the way I describe Apple TV Plus. I need to watch Severance, the Ben Stiller show, because apparently it is really, really awesome. And Ben Stiller, as far as I know, isn't one of these guys who caters for the woke crazies out there. So I will give that show a shot. I've been recommended it by other people, so I will get into it at some point. Yeah, Jon Stewart has some really weird takes as well, because there was a time where he sat in front of Bill O'Reilly on his TV show, and Bill O'Reilly was basically berating him with questions about why did he defend Common, the rapper, who went to Cuba to visit a Black Panther sympathizer who killed a police officer. I think it was in 1973, and every time Jon Stewart was asked a question, he kept evading it with a witticism or deflecting it by some other means. I mean, again, the whole reason why Jon Stewart jumped to the defense of Common, because Common was invited to the White House by Michelle Obama for an evening of poetry reading. Can you imagine anything more boring than that? Oh, Mish, let's talk about the iambic pentameter of Shakespeare's verses. No thanks, I'd rather have jelly and donuts shoved up my anus. But less of my Sunday morning habits, and let's get on with the rest of this article today. So, I did not know this actually, but in December of 2021, Stewart threw shade at J.K. Rowling by declaring that the Harry Potter films had an anti-Semitic theme going through them, which just seems the weirdest thing to say. Jon Stewart actually said here, "You ever see the scenes in Gringotts Bank? Do you know what those folks that run the bank are? They're Jews!" Well, I'm not a Harry Potter fan, so I can't qualify or quantify this statement. It's a very weird thing, but apparently when Jon Stewart's TV show came to light, people kept running that clip again just to call him out. So again, Jon Stewart, you shouldn't be stepping into a platform like Apple TV Plus and coming out with weird takes like that. That's very bizarre. I've actually heard rumblings about the anti-Semitism within the Harry Potter movies, but again, I won't actually even believe that. It's just people that sit down and it's just the same thing like with Lord of the Rings, like how the orcs are likened to Afro-Americans or black people in general. What a ridiculous take. Nobody ever thought that when they watched those great Peter Jackson films from the early noughts. It says more about the people who make those kind of analytics and those findings and then bring them out to the forefront, because those people are complete morons. I never sat there thinking, oh, the orcs are black folks, oh dear, Jesus Christ. But look, let's just go to the video here in question. It is a little bit cringe. I'm just going to play parts of this to avoid the copyright, but hear the opening of this. Now, yeah, let's just play the opening of this and then I'll get to my point in a second.
As you may know, this country has had some issues with race. Oh, okay. Sphinx.
Yeah, so this is the funny thing. Remember back in January, everything's going to be all white on Showtime? You remember the backlash that got alone? And I don't know if anybody thought this was a great idea to sit down. I don't think Jon Stewart writes his own scripts anyway. And, you know, if you're pulling in graduates and you sit them down in front of a table and you give them all the money in the world and say, do something funny, because if you met Steve Martin walking down the street and you walked up to him and said, Stevie baby, just tell me a funny joke, the chances are Steve Martin's just going to walk past you and pretend you don't exist, because funny men and funny women can't turn it on just like that. There are some exceptions to the rule, but it's the same thing with a writer. It's like what Marvel and Disney and Warner Brothers are doing now. They're pulling these very untalented writers who don't have any life experiences, nothing to show for it, hoping they'll come up with the goods. And that's where Hollywood, in my opinion, is actually failing and falling flat on its face. So when Jon Stewart comes up with this opening line, it's terrible. It really is terrible. And again, Apple TV Plus, they should know better than to cater for material like this. But I shall go forward to about maybe here. Oh my God, let's see.
I'm gonna stop for a second and pose so you can get your memes out. Okay, there we go. Get a good picture for your clickbaits.
It's kind of funny that he says, he's doing the whole Robert Downey Jr. thing from the first Iron Man, no gangster signs. Oh, no, you can put the gangster sign up. He's kind of riffing off that. And again, you must know your monologue is embarrassing if you have to defend it with, okay, get your memes ready, blah, blah, blah. It means you're actually heading into the iceberg. You're the Titanic. You're about to hit collision course levels of cringe.
For however sincerely we want to reckon and listen, the truth is America has always prioritized white comfort over black survival.
I wouldn't necessarily agree with that statement, because when I was growing up, the message was anybody could achieve whatever you want. Any dreams or ambitions you had, anybody could do that, regardless of your economical, socio-political background, your upbringing, you could succeed. And again, I know what he's referring to. It's about the fact that white people who are put into education are funded more than black folks. And I don't know how accurate that data actually is. But again, why are we bringing this up as a topic of a talking point? I don't understand that. Aren't there bigger problems in the world right now, folks? I mean, color me pink. Am I talking out of my chocolate ass? I don't know. It's the weirdest thing to come out with. And again, why are we entertaining stuff like this? I'm talking about this because I just thought it was kind of worth mentioning here on my channel.
And any real attempt to repair a ton of...
Oh, well, I tell you what, I can't berate the man for the stutter there. I've had that from time to time. But, it's one of these things, like it's a one-take gig, so you can't get anything wrong. And, it comes to all of us, don't we? We do fluff the lines, we make a bit of a horrible stutter, but it's not the worst thing in the world that he's done. And, he kind of covered up. He kind of realized he's about to not be able to walk away from that stumble. So, fair place to him for carrying on. But they should have given this guy better material. Now, obviously, I can't play all 16 minutes and 38 seconds of this trailer because I'll definitely get a copyright strike from Apple themselves. I just want to go back to the beginning here really quickly because there was something else that he talked about.
There was that incident in 1619, and then...
Yeah, now, this is the funny thing. Why is the audience laughing about the introduction of African American slaves in Virginia in 1619? I find that a little bit odd that you would sit there as a member of the audience and you would laugh at a line of dialogue like that. I don't get it. I really don't understand it at all. Now, if you want to hear the problem with race in general, like my general feelings of it, I grew up in racist times. I mean, there was this thing called deviancy amplification. If you don't know what that is, it's where you take a typical person like a skinhead and they've got specific traits which quantifies deviancy amplification. The skinhead, the fact that they're Caucasian, they wear white t-shirts, big bother boots, tight jeans, and they're most likely to love the verses of Mein Kampf by Hitler. Well, when me and my mum used to go out shopping, we used to encounter such people. Did they walk up to me and my mum and hurl racial abuse at us? Of course they didn't. They're actually friendly folk, just minding their own business and getting on with their lives. It's the same thing for punk rockers as well. You never saw them standing on a street corner looking for trouble. They were just there having their own good time. But it's just a misinterpretation by the media in those days. And yes, racism is still a big thing. Of course it is. It will always be around. But the way it's just kind of, there's like different narratives about racism. Like, this is one from Jon Stewart. He's kind of white knighting for African Americans. It's not really his place to do that. It should be an African American person doing that, right? That's what I think. Of course, everybody's entitled to their own free speech. Of course they are. Now, when you've got platforms like Apple TV and obviously Showtime, the problem with white people or everything's going to be all white, you're going to invite ridicule. You're going to invite criticism. That's it at the end of the day. And just one thing I want to point out here, folks, as well. The ratio for this is bad. So 40,000 upvotes, 47,000 downvotes. Yeah, that's my downvote there because I just wanted to say to myself, why on earth does YouTube entertain these kind of videos? It's so strange. And yeah, you can watch this video for yourself. I've had to go through things and just highlight the salient points of what Jon Stewart says. There are one or two good things that are mentioned here, but as some people have said in the comments below, why are we actually still entertaining this line of narrative in 2022? Again, we got bigger things to think about, folks. So if you enjoyed this little video today, guys, make sure you hit the like button below. And by the way, that thing I said in the previous video about my subscribers somehow adding and subtracting? I'm going to leave you a couple of screenshots while I'm talking here so you can see for yourself I'm not going crazy. So on that one, folks, if you enjoyed this video today, be a good fellow or a good fellowess and hit the like button, maybe slap that subscribe button like it's a pair of buttock cheeks, and I'll see you on my next video.
For everything you wash today, Persil Automatic is all you could want from a powder.
Aw, Mom!
In the ass end of space, even aliens watch Jason King on Kung Fu Hot Dog. Duke Nukem approves this guy.